On a stormy night in 1856, a child was born in a small village in Croatia. Lightning filled the sky, and the wind shook the windows. That child would one day change the world. His name was Nikola Tesla. His mother looked at the storm and said her son would bring light to the world. At the time, nobody believed her. Nikola grew up in a quiet family. His father was a priest, strict and traditional, but his mother was different. She loved to invent things. She built small machines with her own hands. Nikola watched every movement carefully. This was where his love for invention began. But Tesla's childhood was not easy. One day, his older brother died in a terrible accident. Nikola never forgot that moment. He felt guilty and silent for many months. While other children played, Nikola stayed alone. His mind escaped into imagination. He began to see images in his mind, machines, lights, and moving parts. To him, they felt more real than the world around him. This strange gift would shape his future. As he grew older, his curiosity only became stronger. He asked questions no one around him could answer. Nikola wanted to understand how the world truly worked. When Nikola was 17, he became very sick. He lay in bed for months, too weak to stand. Doctors believed he would not survive. His father sat next to him and asked what he wanted most in life. Nikola whispered that he wanted to study engineering. It was the only thing that gave him hope. His father finally agreed. He promised Nikola that he could go to university if he survived. Soon after that, Tesla began to recover. A few years later, Tesla arrived at the university in Graz. He was surrounded by books, machines, and new ideas. For the first time, he felt at home. Nikola studied harder than anyone else. He read late into the night and slept only a few hours. His teachers were impressed, but also worried. One day, a professor showed the class a direct current motor. The machine worked, but sparks flew from its brushes. Nikola immediately saw a problem. He stood up and said that the motor could be improved. He believed electricity could work in a better, cleaner way. The class began to laugh at him. The professor told him it was impossible. Nikola sat down quietly, but inside he made a promise. One day, he would prove them wrong. For years, the idea stayed in his mind. He imagined machines that could run without sparks and brushes. He kept designing them in his head again and again. It was the year 1882. Nikola Tesla was walking in a park in Budapest with a friend. They were talking about poetry and life. Suddenly, Tesla stopped walking. His eyes became wide. Something had appeared in his mind. He could see a machine rotating perfectly. It had no sparks and no brushes. It was driven by alternating current. Excited, Tesla picked up a stick. He began to draw the design in the dirt. His friend watched in silence. At that moment, Tesla knew he had found the answer. This idea would change the future of electricity forever. But having an idea was not enough. Tesla needed a place where he could build it. He decided to travel to America. In 1884, Tesla stood on the deck of a ship heading to New York. He had little money and very few possessions. But he carried a head full of ideas. In his pocket, he carried a letter of recommendation. It was addressed to the famous inventor, Thomas Edison. Tesla hoped this letter would open a door for him. When Tesla arrived in New York, the city overwhelmed him. The streets were crowded, loud, and full of energy. Everything moved faster than he had ever seen. Soon after, Tesla visited Thomas Edison's laboratory. This was the place where many modern inventions were born. Tesla felt both excited and nervous. Edison read the letter Tesla had brought. He looked at the young engineer carefully. Then he offered him a job. Tesla began working long hours, fixing and improving Edison's machines. He solved problems that others could not understand. His talent quickly became obvious. Edison promised Tesla a large payment if he could improve the system. Tesla believed him and worked even harder. He thought his future was finally secure. After months of exhausting work, Tesla finished the improvements. He proudly went to Edison to ask for the promised money. But Edison only laughed. Edison told him the promise had been a joke. Tesla felt betrayed and humiliated. That day, he quit his job. Tesla now had no job and almost no money. To survive, he worked digging ditches in the street. The genius was forced to do manual labor. But even while working in the dirt, Tesla's mind was still full of electricity. He continued to design his alternating current system in his head. He refused to give up. Soon, Tesla met a man who would change everything. His name was George Westinghouse. Unlike Edison, he believed in Tesla's ideas. Westinghouse bought Tesla's patents and gave him a laboratory. For the first time in America, Tesla had the tools he needed. He could finally build his ideas into real machines. But Thomas Edison was not happy. He knew Tesla's alternating current was better than his direct current, and he was afraid of losing his business. Edison began a public campaign against alternating current. He told people it was dangerous and deadly. Newspapers started to spread fear. To prove his point, Edison arranged public demonstrations. Animals were killed using alternating current. Crowds watched in horror and confusion. Tesla refused to answer with fear. Instead, he chose to show the beauty of electricity. He planned a different kind of demonstration. During his lectures, Tesla let electricity pass through his own body. Bright sparks danced around his hands and clothes. The audience watched in complete silence. He showed that alternating current could be controlled and safe. His performances looked more like magic than science. People began to admire him. The biggest test came in 1893. Chicago was preparing for the World's Fair. The city needed a system to power thousands of lights. Both Edison and Westinghouse wanted the contract. It was not just about money, it was about proving which system was better. In the end, Tesla and Westinghouse won. They would light the entire fair using alternating current. It was a huge risk. Opening night finally arrived. Thousands of people gathered to see what would happen. The fairgrounds were completely dark. Nikola Tesla stood near the control panel. He took a deep breath and reached for the switch. The crowd waited in silence. He pressed the switch. In an instant, thousands of lights turned on at once. Night became brighter than day. People began to cheer and clap. They had never seen so much light before. Tesla's system had worked perfectly. Newspapers around the world wrote about the event. Alternating current was no longer an experiment. It was the future. Soon after, another huge project began. Engineers planned to use Niagara Falls to generate electricity. It would be the most powerful station ever built. Again, there was a question. Should they use direct current or alternating current? The decision would affect the entire country. After long discussions, Tesla's system was chosen. It was stronger and could send power much farther. The construction began immediately. In 1896, the generators finally started to turn. Electricity traveled from Niagara Falls to the city of Buffalo. It was a historic moment. Tesla had won the war of currents. His alternating current system was now used across the country. The world had changed forever. By the beginning of the 20th century, Tesla was famous. His name was known in America and Europe. People called him a genius. He attended expensive dinners and met important people. Writers, scientists, and businessmen wanted to speak with him. Tesla enjoyed the attention, but he still felt different. Despite his success, Tesla had unusual habits. He counted his steps and avoided touching people. He was afraid of germs and human hair. He never married and lived most of his life alone. He said his work was too important for distractions. His true love was science. But Tesla was not finished dreaming. He had a new and even bigger idea. He wanted to send electricity through the air. He believed the whole planet could become one giant electrical system. No wires, no cables, just free energy for everyone. To make this dream real, Tesla needed money. He turned to one of the richest men in America, J.P. Morgan. Tesla promised him a revolutionary communication tower. Morgan agreed to invest in the project. Construction began on Long Island. The tower was called Wardenclyffe. Tesla believed this tower would change the world again. It would send messages, voices, and electricity across the planet. He was certain of success. At first, construction of the tower went quickly. Workers built the giant structure day and night. Tesla watched it rise with pride, but soon the cost became higher than expected. Tesla needed more money to finish the project, so he returned to J.P. Morgan for help. Morgan listened carefully to Tesla's new plans. He learned that Tesla wanted to give electricity to people for free. This idea shocked the businessman. Morgan asked a simple question. If electricity is free, how will we make money? Tesla had no good answer. After that meeting, Morgan refused to invest more money. Without funding, construction slowed down. The dream began to fall apart. Other investors also lost interest. They preferred projects that promised quick profit. Tesla's vision was too far ahead of its time. Work on the tower eventually stopped completely. The giant structure stood unfinished against the sky. It became a symbol of a broken dream. Tesla tried to continue his research, but his money was gone. He sold equipment and moved between hotels to avoid debts. His life was slowly falling apart. People who once admired him now ignored him. New inventors became famous, and Tesla was forgotten. He felt like the world had moved on without him. Tesla was now an old man. He lived alone in small hotel rooms in New York City. His fame had faded, but his mind was still full of ideas. He continued to write and design new inventions. But very few people were interested in his work anymore. The world had moved on to younger scientists. Every day, Tesla walked to a nearby park. There, he spent hours feeding pigeons. They became his only regular companions. One pigeon was special to him. It was white and often came directly to his hands. Tesla said he loved that bird like a person. As the years passed, Tesla became weaker. He had little money and depended on hotel kindness. Still, he kept thinking about new inventions. In January 1943, Tesla told the hotel staff not to disturb him. He wanted to rest and work in silence. It was the last time anyone spoke with him. A few days later, a maid entered the room. Tesla was lying peacefully on his bed. He had passed away at the age of 86. News of his death spread quickly across the world. Scientists and newspapers spoke about his genius. But many people were surprised to learn how poor he had died. Thousands of people attended his funeral. They came to honor the man who had helped power the modern world. Only after his death did many truly understand his importance. After Tesla's death, government officials entered his room. They collected his notebooks, letters, and research papers. Some of his ideas were still not understood. For many years, Tesla's work was kept in archives. Only a small number of scientists studied his notes. The world slowly began to rediscover his genius. Decades later, engineers realized how far ahead of his time Tesla had been. Many modern technologies were based on ideas he had imagined long before. His legacy was growing again. Today, almost every home in the world uses alternating current. Electricity travels through cities and across countries using Tesla's system. His invisible work surrounds us every day. When you turn on a light or charge your phone, you are using ideas that came from Tesla's mind. His inventions became part of everyday life, yet many people still do not know his story. Tesla once dreamed of giving free energy to the entire world. He believed science should help all humanity, not just make profit. That dream is still discussed today. His life was not easy. He experienced fame, failure, loneliness, and misunderstanding. But he never stopped imagining a better future. Today, scientists, engineers, and dreamers still speak his name. Nikola Tesla is remembered not only for his inventions, but for his vision. A man who saw the future long before the rest of the world. Nikola Tesla died alone in a small hotel room. But his ideas never died. They continued to travel through wires, cities, and across the entire planet. He gave the world light, power, and new possibilities. Even today, we are still discovering how far his imagination reached. Few inventors have changed the world so deeply. Tesla once said that the present belongs to others, but the future was his. History proved that he was right. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real stories about great people in simple English, subscribe to the channel and join us in the next episode. Thank you for watching.